Hey there folks, Brian King again. For those who saw my video from yesterday, I came to you then to extend my gratitude for all the generosity that you showed me in response to the experience I had at the beginning of the week when I traveled to Walmart in order to do some simple shopping and was mistreated by the staff there at Walmart. And I'm happy to share the link to the previous video in the comment section if you want to see that again. In fact, I'll just go and do it anyway. But the reason for this video is that after thanking everyone who had donated to our crowdfunding, people continued to donate even though we had already exceeded our goal. So at the end of this video, I'm going to take time to thank the people who had donated after I'd done the previous video. But I want to add more because I had a bit of a breakthrough yesterday when I was talking to my wife at the end of the day. And one thing I've struggled with for my entire life, and I imagine that this is similar for you in some ways, and that is being open to receiving. Because we're encouraged in our culture that it's better to give than to receive, and we're encouraged to be altruistic in our giving, to give without the expectation of return. And in fact, even feel guilty when someone gives to us or helps us. Because we are supposed to be helpful, we are not supposed to be helped. In fact, if you ask for help in the Western culture, it's a sign of weakness or quitting or giving up. It's often discouraged. I mean, if you were raised in a household other than that, I envy you because it was definitely not the household I was raised in. It's not how I was taught in school. I was taught to try harder, do it myself first, go back and try it again. And help was the last thing you wanted to be caught asking for because you'd be accused of being stupid. But that clearly was reversed, turned on its head in the last 48, 72 hours for me. Because what I experienced was a tidal wave of love, caring, support that I have not experienced before. Not in my memory. And my memory is pretty crappy, but I'm pretty sure I've never experienced anything like this before. Now, I've been humbled in the past by some pretty awful experiences. The bullying when I was a kid, the cancer I had when I was 18, when my ex left me and I was a single dad for a year. Now, I want to preface that by saying I had a lot of help when I was a single dad, not like a lot of the single moms who are flying solo. I don't know how they do it. But during all those times, I was humbled because I felt like I didn't matter. I felt like nobody was helping me, that help wasn't available because no one cared enough. Well, this time it was the exact opposite. I felt humbled because I didn't realize how much my efforts and my being on this planet actually mattered to people. And that absolutely blew me away. And I'm not taking away from people's generosity thinking, well, I guess that means that I'm top shit now. I'm awesome. I'm better. No, what it means is that I no longer feel like I'm unseen. I feel like that when I show up, that there are some people that are actually happy that I'm there and that I can contribute, and people's lives will be positively impacted by that. And I just need to be me. That I've been me all along in the presence of you, of all of you, and that's been enough the whole time. And I don't know whether I didn't see it, which is quite possible because of my Aspergian tendencies, my autism tendencies and whatnot. But the fact that it came about this way, I don't know how else it could have come about and been more useful, because I'm one of those guys that typically needs a mallet over the head to get a clue. I tend not to learn things subtly. I learn things when life jumps up and kicks me between the eyes. So it's possible that it took a lesson like this in order to get my attention that, hey, Bri, it's okay for you to receive now. Because many of us, especially the guys, tend to have that imbalance. We give, work, and when it's time to receive, it's, no, I'm fine, I got it covered, I can do it myself. And then you spend your life pridefully having your needs unmet, feeling empty, hollow, sad, because you're too tough to ask for what you need. And I know some women like that too. But in this case, wow. To have no choice but to receive in such a positive way, you know, like I said, a tidal wave, you cannot avoid getting wet when a tidal wave is coming over you. And that's how this felt. I could not avoid taking it in and letting myself receive the caring you were all showing me. And it felt very uncomfortable at first because I was not used to it. But when I let myself feel it, I can't even describe it. The feeling of belonging, the feeling of knowing that I was okay in the world, that I was part of a bigger community than I realized I was. And it all started because I reached out and shared a problem and my community responded. And it wasn't the disabled community, it wasn't the mental health community, the people who supposedly are the only ones that will ever get it. You know, there's a lot of disability propaganda that says, you know, the neurotypical world, the regular folks will never get it. They will never understand. You know, only the people that have disabilities will understand. Well, guess who responded? Everybody. It wasn't just the people who supposedly get it. It was everybody. All walks of life, all different professions, able-bodied, disabled, didn't matter. Because they're all part of my community. They all wanted to help. We're all in this human experience together. We're all trying to figure it out with our unique sets of skills and challenges. Whether you call it a disability or you just call it basic clumsiness. We're all in this together, folks, regardless of how you choose to categorize yourselves. And I am kind of looking at life slightly through a new lens here, in that I have historically resisted receiving. And one of the big ways that we resist receiving that we don't realize is lack of trust. If we have difficulty trusting others, we will not ask for things. We won't ask for opportunities to be vulnerable. Like, listen to my story, listen to my problem, listen to what's bothering me. We won't ask that of people if we don't trust. We won't ask for help in general if we don't trust. If you don't trust, you're more anxious. Do you know that anxious people have trouble taking a deep breath? You ever notice that? My oldest son has difficulty with anxiety. And he talks about difficulty taking a deep breath. Well, what is a deep breath if it is not receiving air from the world? Taking in oxygen and then giving it back. The exhalation is easy. You can give, no problem. But when it's time to inhale, you're too tight. Trusting is also a physical manifestation. Start by practicing your breathing. Learn to take a deep breath again. Relax those muscles. Learn to feel it. And then start trusting other people again. Just starting with one. Maybe trust yourself. Because until you can start receiving, all of that stuff that you are putting out into the world doesn't have a chance to get its way back to you. It's not that what you're putting out is not being appreciated, but every time it wants to get back to you, you're playing duck, dodge, dip, dive. You're doing everything to make sure it doesn't reach you. And I think I've been guilty of that myself. But man, that door has been kicked down in this case. See, there are lessons everywhere you look, as long as you're looking for a lesson. I don't know that the lesson is necessarily inherent in these things, but there can be one. And in this case, the lesson for me was to be just as receptive to receiving as I am to giving, so that there's balance, like two sides of the same coin. And it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold moving forward, not just from myself, but for how I'm going to show up for you. Because when you give to my life, it helps me be better, so I can show up in your life even better. Because our relationship is synergistic. It's like two flames coming together. When they meet, the flame becomes bigger. That's how relationships work. We make each other better, we keep each other neutral, or we take energy away. And thank goodness I chose you to be in my community. Because clearly, if the past few days have proven anything, it's that we make each other better. So let's keep giving to each other. Let's keep helping each other. And let's keep making each other's lives better by being a part of one another's community. Thank you again for your generosity. And last but not least, I want to thank those who gave even after we met our goal of $2,100. And those generous folks were Mark Moland, June, I don't know how to say her last name, but she's a very important person to me, Tano, Lori Snyder, beg your pardon, Keith Griffiths, Jean Martinez, Glenn Mitchell, Anthea Zumbalin, Amanda Blankenship, Patty Balsas, Suzanne Sherman, Katie Horsfall, Yvonne Roller, Brad Etlin, Justine McCormick, Kathleen Lyons Conrad, Amy Brocht, Pam Burton, Meredith Bissiker, and Barbara Barnes. Thank you, you beautiful souls, you generous human beings who can't fathom what this has meant to me and my family. And know that as I venture out into the world, the energy that it will expose me to will only come back to you in positive ways. So have a glorious day, rest of your week. Let's stay in touch. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for your generosity and continued presence in my life. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And I see you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you even more. Take care.